Consciousness and brain. Does consciousness need a brain? Insights from Buddhism. Look up at the night sky. Vast, mysterious, awe-inspiring. The universe within us is no less profound. We experience the world through our senses, through thoughts, emotions, memories. Constant stream of experience. But what is the nature of the awareness that perceives all of this? What is consciousness? Is it solely a product of the intricate workings of our brains, a fleeting byproduct of electrical impulses? Or is there something more, a deeper dimension to awareness that transcends the physical? For millennia, philosophers and spiritual traditions have pondered these questions. Buddhism offers a unique and ancient perspective on this enduring mystery, a perspective that challenges our conventional understanding of the mind and its relationship to the world around us. Chapter 1. Understanding Consciousness in Buddhism. Part 1. The building blocks of experience. The 5 aggregates. Western thought frequently links consciousness with brain activity. The brain, a complex organ, is seen as the source of awareness. Buddhism offers a different framework. Instead of a singular fixed self, Buddhism describes our experience as a dynamic interplay of 5 aggregates, or khandhas. These aggregates, form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness, are not static entities, but processes, constantly in flux, arising and passing away moment by moment. The chariot analogy illustrates this well. A chariot is simply the collection of its parts, wheels, axle, frame, and so on. There's no independent chariot entity existing apart from these components. Similarly, what we conventionally call I or myself is a convenient designation for the collection of the 5 aggregates. There isn't a separate self outside of these interconnected, ever-changing processes. Form, the first aggregate, encompasses the physical body, including the brain and nervous system. Buddhism acknowledges the brain's essential role. It's the physical basis through which we interact with the world. However, the brain isn't the entirety of consciousness, but a vital condition for its arising. Feeling, the second aggregate, encompasses all sensations, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. It's important to differentiate feeling from perception. Perception recognizes and labels an object, while feeling is the affective response, the pleasantness, unpleasantness, or neutrality experienced in relation to that object. Perception, the third aggregate, is how we interpret sensory input. We make sense of the world around us by categorizing and labeling experiences. This process is shaped by past experiences, cultural conditioning, and individual biases. Perception works in conjunction with mental formations to construct our understanding of reality. Mental formations, the fourth aggregate, are the most dynamic. They include thoughts, emotions, intentions, volitional impulses, and all mental activities that shape our responses. For instance, seeing a snake, perception, might trigger fear, feeling, and the thought, I need to move away, mental formation. These mental processes drive our actions and color our experience. Finally, consciousness, the fifth aggregate, is the awareness that experiences all of these. It's the knowing aspect of our being, the subjective experience of the other 4 aggregates. Consciousness isn't a thing, but a process, a constantly changing flow of awareness. In essence, The 5 aggregates offer a framework for understanding the components of experience, highlighting their interconnected and impermanent nature. Part 2. The interconnectedness of experience. Dependent origination. Dependent origination, pratityasamutpada, is a cornerstone of Buddhist philosophy. It explains that all phenomena arise dependently on other phenomena. Nothing exists in isolation. Everything is interwoven in a web of cause and effect. This applies directly to consciousness. Consciousness doesn't arise spontaneously or exist independently. It arises dependent on conditions. Much like a seed requires earth, water, sunlight, and other factors to sprout. The Buddha, in the Samyutta Nikaya, explained this dependence using the terms name and form, nama rupa. Name refers to the 4 mental aggregates, and form refers to the physical aggregate. The 12 links of dependent origination provide a more detailed map of how suffering arises and how it can be overcome. This chain of cause and effect begins with ignorance and progresses through craving, clinging, becoming, and ultimately to birth, aging, sickness, death, and suffering. Understanding how ignorance fuels craving, which in turn strengthens clinging, is key to weakening the cycle of suffering. The Buddha used the analogy of a lute. The sound of a lute depends on the strings, the plectrum, and the player. Similarly, consciousness arises dependently on various factors. This understanding challenges the notion of a permanent, independent self. Dependent origination reveals the interconnectedness of all phenomena, including consciousness, and provides a path towards understanding and ultimately overcoming suffering. Part 3. The flow of consciousness. Rebirth. Rebirth in Buddhism is frequently misunderstood. It is not about a soul migrating from one body to another. That idea contradicts the fundamental Buddhist principle of non-self, anatta. There's no fixed, unchanging entity to transmigrate. Rebirth is the continuation of a process, a stream of consciousness conditioned by past actions, karma. Like a flame passed from one candle to another, consciousness continues from one life to the next, shaped by past actions and conditions without a fixed entity being transferred. This process is not a reward or punishment, but a natural consequence of actions within the law of karma. This isn't a deterministic system. It's a complex interplay of causes and conditions. Our present actions, thoughts, and intentions create the conditions for future experiences, influencing the nature of future lives. These actions create karmic imprints that shape future experiences. The Buddha's accounts of his past lives, as found in the Jataka tales, are not meant as literal biographies, but as teaching stories. They illustrate the principles of karma and rebirth, demonstrating how actions have consequences that extend across lifetimes. Rebirth is intricately linked to samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, driven by ignorance, craving, and attachment. Buddhist practices aim to weaken these driving forces. The ultimate goal is liberation, nirvana, a state that transcends samsara and the limitations of conditioned existence. This liberation involves a profound shift in understanding the nature of consciousness. Understanding rebirth as a process of dependent origination, not a transmigration of a fixed self, clarifies the Buddhist perspective on the continuity of consciousness beyond the physical body. Chapter 2. Beyond the Physical Body. Part 1. The Luminous Mind. Buddhist texts often describe the mind as inherently luminous, radiant and pure. This isn't physical brightness, but a quality of awareness itself, a potential for clarity, wisdom, and compassion. This inherent purity, like the sun obscured by clouds, is often veiled by mental afflictions, greed, hatred, delusion, and so on. These afflictions prevent the mind's natural radiance from shining through. This luminous mind suggests that consciousness isn't solely a product of brain activity. If consciousness were entirely dependent on the physical brain, it would cease upon the brain's death. The luminous mind points to a potential for consciousness to exist independently, a potential we can realize through practices that purify and refine the mind. This resonates with the concept of Buddha nature, the potential for enlightenment inherent within all beings. The Buddha, in the Anguttara Nikaya, described the mind as bright and shining, yet stained by incoming defilements. This suggests the mind's essential nature is pure, but its expression is clouded by negative mental states. Through practices like meditation, we can gradually clear these obscurations. This luminosity is closely linked to wisdom and insight. As we purify the mind through ethical conduct, mindfulness, and meditation, we gain deeper understanding of reality, moving closer to liberation, nirvana, and the realization of Buddhahood. This also deepens our understanding of anatta, non-self, as we see that even this luminous mind is not a fixed, independent entity, but a dynamic process. The luminous mind, then, isn't merely a theoretical concept. It's a potential within each of us, cultivated through practice, suggesting that consciousness, while conditioned by the physical body in this life, possesses a fundamental nature transcending physical limitations. It is not a self, but a potential for awakening. Part 2. Experiences beyond the brain. While the idea of consciousness existing independently of the brain might seem counterintuitive from a materialistic perspective, various experiences suggest a more expansive view of awareness. These subjective experiences, while not definitive proof, offer valuable points of inquiry. Near-death experiences, NDEs, are one example. Individuals near death sometimes report vivid experiences of awareness, often involving a sense of leaving the body, encountering deceased loved ones, or reviewing their life. While neuroscience offers potential explanations for NDEs, such as brain chemistry or dying brain activity, they raise questions about the relationship between consciousness and the brain. From a Buddhist perspective, these experiences can be seen as glimpses of the mind's potential to function independently. Deep meditative states also offer insights. Practitioners sometimes report boundless awareness, emerging with the universe, or profound peace and interconnectedness. Specific meditative states, like the formless jhanas, involve transcending ordinary sensory perception. These experiences, while not proof of consciousness without a brain, suggest that awareness can expand beyond physical limitations and sensory input, resonating with the idea of the luminous mind and its potential beyond the five aggregates. Buddhist literature contains accounts of monks and nuns in deep meditative states, where awareness seemed to transcend physical limitations. These are not proof, but indications of the mind's potential, aligning with the concept of the luminous mind. These subjective experiences, from NDEs to deep meditative states, suggest the nature of consciousness may be more complex than current scientific models propose, prompting further exploration of the mind's potential. Chapter 3. Living with this understanding. Part 1. The illusion of self. Throughout this exploration, we've encountered the Buddhist concept of anatta, non-self. This isn't a nihilistic denial of existence, but a profound insight into reality. We habitually cling to the idea of a solid, independent self, a me separate from the world. This perceived self, however, is an illusion, a construct created by the interplay of the five aggregates. Clinging to this illusion fuels suffering. We crave things we believe will benefit this illusory self, and fear things that might harm it. This craving and aversion fuel samsara, the endless round of birth, death, and rebirth. Understanding anatta doesn't mean we cease to exist. It means recognizing the impermanent, interconnected nature of our being. This can be profoundly liberating. Recognizing there's no fixed self to protect lessens our fear of death. Death becomes not the annihilation of a self, but a transition in the flow of consciousness. Furthermore, anatta fosters compassion. Seeing through the illusion of a separate self reveals our interconnectedness, what Thich Nhat Hanh calls interbeing. We are not isolated individuals, but part of a vast web of life. This interconnectedness naturally gives rise to compassion, empathy for the suffering of others. Anatta also has profound implications for our relationships, fostering greater empathy and understanding, and challenging our egocentric view of the world. It impacts our sense of self-worth, shifting the focus from a fragile, separate self to a more expansive sense of belonging and interconnectedness. Our social interactions become less about self-promotion and more about genuine connection and mutual support. Part 2. Cultivating a Peaceful Mind. The Buddhist path offers practices for cultivating a peaceful mind. These aren't mere relaxation techniques, but tools for transforming our understanding of reality and our way of being in the world. Meditation is central. Mindfulness meditation cultivates present moment awareness without judgment. Observing the arising and passing of thoughts, sensations, and emotions provides direct insight into impermanence, weakening our clinging to the illusion of self and cultivating equanimity. Other forms of meditation, like loving-kindness meditation, metta, cultivate positive mental states like compassion. These practices counteract negative mental states that obscure the mind's luminosity. Compassion itself plays a crucial role in liberation. By recognizing the suffering inherent in clinging to a separate self and extending that understanding to all beings, we weaken the grip of self-centeredness that fuels samsara. Compassion becomes a powerful force for breaking free from the cycle of suffering. Ethical conduct is also crucial. Acting with kindness, compassion, and integrity creates positive karmic imprints, shaping future experiences and supporting a peaceful mind by reducing inner conflict. Cultivating a peaceful mind requires consistent effort, but the benefits are profound. Greater peace, wisdom, and compassion, essential qualities for navigating the complexities of life. Part 3. The Unfolding Path, Living Wisdom and Compassion. The journey doesn't conclude with intellectual understanding. Rather, it blossoms into a way of being. It's a continuous unfolding, a deepening of comprehension, and a genuine embodiment of kindness and wisdom, the heart of the Dharma. The path isn't a checklist of rules to follow, but a lived experience, an integration of awareness, empathy, and a profound appreciation for our shared existence. This integration happens in the ordinary moments, in how we respond to emotions, interact with others, and engage with the world. Consider anger. Instead of reacting impulsively, we can pause, breathe, and observe the feeling arise and pass. This creates space, allowing us to respond with intention rather than reactivity. In relationships, principles of compassion and interconnectedness become our guide. Recognizing that others, like us, experience both joy and sorrow allows us to approach them with true empathy. Cultivating this sincere care forms the basis for more meaningful and harmonious interactions. Our relationship with the environment is equally significant. Seeing all beings as part of a vast web encourages us to live consciously, choosing actions that minimize harm and support the well-being of our planet. The path includes moments of doubt and difficulty. However, these become opportunities for growth when approached with mindfulness and self-compassion. We learn from errors, nurture resilience, and cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves. The path is an invitation to embrace life fully, with its complexities and beauty. It encourages an exploration of our minds, transforming ordinary moments into opportunities for cultivating kindness, wisdom, and genuine connection with the world.